We are instructed to strive for happiness and success from birth. We are taught that anything is possible for us if we put in the effort and pursue our goals. Even though these are worthy objectives, one essential aspect is missing: the significance of first loving God. It's easy to get caught up in religious language or doctrine when we talk about loving God first. However, this concept transcends any specific faith or creed. Putting something greater than ourselves at the center of our lives is fundamental to loving God first. It entails pursuing something greater than our own personal desires and goals and living with purpose and intention. What makes this so potent? When we place God at the center of our lives, we make room for a sense of purpose and meaning that can help us get through even the toughest times. We are motivated by a sense of service to something greater than ourselves rather than living for our own satisfaction. This can be extremely satisfying and give us the strength to overcome challenges that might have otherwise stymied our progress. In addition, putting our relationships with other people in their proper context is part of loving God first. We are less likely to be driven by self-centeredness or ego when we are motivated by a desire to serve something greater than ourselves. Because we are aware that our interactions with other people are a part of a larger story that has more significance, we are more likely to be kind, compassionate, and forgiving. A sense of community and belonging that is difficult to find in a world that frequently feels cold and isolated can be created by this. And it can assist us in developing relationships with those around us that are more authentic and stronger. We place our faith and trust in a higher power when we first love God. We are recognizing that we are not in control of everything that occurs in our lives and that there is something greater than ourselves in the world. Because we are taught to be independent and self-sufficient from a young age, this may be difficult for some people to accept. However, if we put our trust in God, we can attain a sense of tranquility and safety that cannot be obtained anywhere else. We prioritize our relationship with God above all else when we love God first. We are acknowledging that our lives are all good because of God and that we are nothing without Him. But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well, says Matthew 6:33. What exactly are these things that we will receive if we first seek God? A life lived in accordance with God's will brings these blessings. We are able to see the world through the eyes of God when we put God first in everything we do. We are motivated to be compassionate and kind to others, to face challenges with courage and strength, and to find happiness and fulfillment in our lives. We can also find meaning and purpose in our lives by first loving God. We are able to tap into a deeper sense of purpose than we can ever find through our own desires and ambitions when we live our lives in accordance with God's will. We can see that our lives are about more than just achieving material success or wealth accumulation. We can now focus on serving others and making a difference in the world, which can be a liberating realization. Putting God first means also loving other people. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. Jesus says in Mark 12:30-31. The second is as follows: love one another as yourself. These are the most important commandments. When we put God first, we want to love and help other people as well. We acknowledge that we are all God's children, are obligated to love and care for one another in the same way that He loves and cares for us. We can also find meaning and purpose in our lives by first loving God. We are able to tap into a deeper sense of purpose than we can ever find through our own desires and ambitions when we live our lives in accordance with God's will. We can see that our lives are about more than just achieving material success or wealth accumulation. We can now focus on serving others and making a difference in the world, which can be a liberating realization. But what happens if we do not first love God? We set ourselves up for failure and disappointment when we put our own aspirations and desires ahead of our relationship with Him. We may be successful and have a lot of material possessions, but we will never truly be happy or satisfied without faith. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had labored to achieve, everything was meaningless, but chasing after the wind. Says Ecclesiastes 2:11, under the sun, nothing was gained. When we put God first, we also receive the courage and strength to face life's obstacles. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble, declares Psalm 46. We know that God will never abandon us or forsake us when we put our faith in Him. With the knowledge that God is always with us, we are able to face our anxieties and overcome challenges. We can also cultivate virtues like humility, gratitude, and compassion by first loving God. We can cultivate a sense of humility and gratitude for the blessings in our lives by acknowledging that we are not in control of everything. When we acknowledge that we are all God's children and deserving of love and respect, we can also cultivate compassion for other people. By first loving God, we can find inner peace and happiness. We put our trust in God. We can find peace that lasts longer than the fleeting pleasures of this world. We can find peace that is unaffected by external circumstances in our relationship with God. It can be a life-altering experience when we are able to find joy and fulfillment that is independent of material possessions or other people. When we prioritize God, we truly experience happiness and contentment in our lives. According to Psalm 16:11, you will make me smile whenever you are around because you make known to me the path of life. If we seek God's will for our lives, we can find meaning and purpose that goes beyond the fleeting pleasures of this world. We are able to live lives that are full of love, peace, and happiness because we are following the path that God has laid out for us. It's not always easy to live with this kind of intentionality, putting our own aspirations and desires aside and concentrating on something that may appear to be intangible or abstract can be difficult. Even when we are hurt or frustrated, it can be challenging to navigate the complexities of human relationships and to approach others with kindness and compassion. In addition, it can be intimidating to adhere to one's own values and beliefs in a world that constantly encourages conformity. However, when we make the decision to first love God, we open ourselves up to a source of strength and purpose that can help us get through any obstacle we face in life. We have access to a rich source of meaning and connection that can assist us in strengthening our relationships, leading lives that are more satisfying, and having a positive effect on the world around us. When we first love God, everything else in our lives falls into place. We are able to have success, happiness, and contentment in our lives because we are living in accordance with God's will. Let us strive to love God first and place Him at the center of our lives for a truly blessed life. Love the ruler your God with everything that is in you, and your entire being. It says in Deuteronomy 6:5, loving God first is a powerful strategy for achieving true happiness and contentment in life. By having faith in a higher power, we can experience a sense of safety and tranquility that cannot be found anywhere else. We can also cultivate virtues like compassion and humility, find inner peace, and be content. All of these possibilities exist. As a result, if you're having trouble finding purpose in your life, you might want to consider placing your faith in God and waiting to see how everything else turns out.